Hello and welcome to Volume on Investing Bros. I'm T Shroom, and I'm really glad that you've joined us today. Now, the question is there going to be more pain for Bitcoin today? We're going to try to be answering that question. The first thing we're going to do to answer that is we're going to go over to the hourly charts and take a look at what we're seeing. So, first thing that I'm seeing here is that we had a rejection here on the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the 1 hour. As you can see, that led then to a move down, lower into this, penetrating through this uptrending line of support, and a textbook retest and confirmation of it now being flipped into resistance. As we zoom out here, we can see that this is a pretty valid uptrending line of support, going back quite a ways here, providing support back here in March 5th, and then going back to this breakout back here on the 26th. So this to me is a pretty important uptrending line of support that has now been effectively flipped into resistance. So that first bit of data would indicate that we are likely in for a bit of a lower move, especially considering what we're seeing right now in real time, right? Which is a lower high. So lower high in here for Bitcoin. Now I have a level of support down here at 64,800. This one goes back to a monthly high back here, as you can see, the 64,800. This goes back all the way to this April 2001 high. Wick, that should serve as support. Current prices haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to that level. And then the next level lower, again, these are all just going back to older levels. Honestly, I got a lot of these from Magic Internet Money, who's going to actually be on the show today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this is going to be here at 58,700, and that's just going off of these candle body closes back here again in kind of the summer 2021. So overall here, is Bitcoin going lower? It looks like we are finally getting that pullback that we've been waiting for. But guys, it's really not even that dramatic right now. I mean, from the top to the wick down here is 11%. We've already had pullbacks in this rally that are more like that. I wouldn't even really call this all that dramatic. So, what do you do? Well, I'm certainly not selling Bitcoin. That's the last thing on my mind, right? And I'm really not even considering selling much else. I'm really looking at this and thinking, how low can we go before I start deploying capital? Just start buying more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, or more AVAX, or whatever it's going to be. Because one thing we do see is that the bubbles have been very red today. The altcoins are not taking the news quite as calmly as maybe T-Shroom is here. Bonk down 15%. Sheeb down 12%. BSV down 20% down here, as you can see. So there's definitely a bit of panic here in the altcoins. But you do see a green name here. FET.ai up 6.7%. Guys, we got some news here we're going to be getting into. There's not really a whole lot news-wise that would trigger this sell-off. It really does just look like the overextended indicators are finally kind of worth their weight again, right? Because for a long time, we've been getting overextended indicators, and we've just been ignoring them here, illustrated by the Lux ALGO oscillator matrix. You can see here, it said overextended. What did we do? Sideways, tiny little dip, and then just a giant face melting move higher here, right? And then we got it again, right? So overextended. It's possible that we are finally getting into a phase where these overextended indicators are finally their predictions are going to be coming to fruition. This is on the daily chart, going down to the 4 hour, again for Bitcoin here. You can see that the Lux ALGO oscillator matrix has actually broken down below this red line decisively. Now that's important. Decisively below the 50 line here for the first time really since February 24th. Yes, February 24th. Now, it broke down before then. You can see here, it had broken down here and here, technically, right? But there was a quick resumption higher as the market bought it back very quickly and aggressively in a period where money flow was green, positive, right? So whatever is going on right now right? This is different. It's different from these pullbacks here, and these are correlated here with this one, which was pretty significant, and then this one back here, which again spent very little time below that 50 line on the oscillator matrix, and that was all very, very, very brief, and this was really more of a consolidation than a dip. Consolidation before a huge face melt. So should you sell based off of that? No, because the last two times that we got down below that 50 line, we had an explosion higher, right? Now, you might say, but T-Shroom, this is different. It's down below the 20 line now, too, on the Lux Algo Oscillator Matrix. Yes, this time, in this rally, this time is different. I would also point out, it's also broken this line of support, right? And pretty convincingly on the 1 hour, flipped it to resistance. So what do you do here? Do you try to take a short? I wouldn't. I think taking a short here on Bitcoin it's not a mistake, because technically the argument is there. The argument is definitely there for taking a short on this. You're getting wicks lower, you're not getting wicks higher, and then you're also back on the 1 hour. You have a really nice, just textbook retest of this line here. So, what would invalidate this would be a move higher, getting a higher high here on the 1 hour. Getting back above this line, obviously, would be very, very bullish. But right now, I think that the market is going ahead and it's kind of assuming that we are going to try to have some price exploration to the downside. And as Tim and I have been pounding the pavement day after day saying, is that is okay. That is healthy. If you are listening to the sound of my voice and you're hearing Bitcoin price discovery to the downside, and you're thinking sell, or you're thinking fear, or you're thinking, I got to call my parents, tell them to sell the Bitcoin that I orange pilled them and got them to buy. Got to call my nephew, tell him to sell that Bitcoin, you're going to lose it all, right? That's not healthy. That's not good. What is healthy is a pullback. What is healthy is a testing of lower levels here for Bitcoin, right? We want to see a much more. Let me go out to a lower out time frame here. Out on the 1 day, we want to see not as much straight up movement. Really, what we want to see is a good. We've had a lot of really good straight up movement. Now, I think a retest, probably down to this line here, 58, would be really good. I think that would be a pretty good, healthy retest. Come back down and then make a move higher. I've got some Fibonacci levels that actually Piper was showing me just the other day. Let me kill this trend line. Show you guys. We're spending a lot of time on the charts here. Usually I'm doing much more news. To be honest with you, it does not seem to be a news catalyst. There is one data point that I'll share with you here in just a second. But again, just wanted to kind of reinforce this 58 level here. With the Fibonacci, you can see 58.4 is pretty strong. Now, what kind of percentage pullback from the top? That would be about a 20% move. From where we are now, move back into the upper band of the golden pocket would be about 58. Sorry, not 58, 13%. Call it 14, maybe even 15% there. Move from where we are right now, post penetration through this uptrending line of support. Okay, so that's a lot of TA. If you're not here for the TA, you're here for the news. I apologize, but that's where we are. That is where we are. And on the daily chart, the oscillator hasn't even put in a lower low, right? So let me make it very clear. I just gave you some levels that we could see some price exploration in today. We could also see that over the next month, right, into the halving. That is also possible. This could be a very slow melt down that looks a lot more like this. A very slow meltdown over months through April, right, into the halving. Probably the halving would be quite a bullish catalyst. Could be a sell the news catalyst as well. Depends on how the market wants to receive that. Or we could go ahead and make this move quite quickly, and we're there before March is even over, back down to 58. Now, my 9 a.m. bros are probably screaming, T-Shroom, on the daily, you've got that Bollinger Band. We absolutely do. And so this is where I don't want you all to get it twisted, right? I have a lot of stuff drawn here, but if you just come back and simplify, a lot of traders are looking at the charts just like this. Bollinger Bands and Bollinger Bands alone. We have not broken down through the daily candle Bollinger Band. So there's a good chance here, guys. And I would say that, I don't know, I feel like I'm leaning that this is probably what's going to happen. I mean, I would like to see a bigger pullback of 15 or 20%. But the reality is that we've seen the buyers come out in stride, not even letting it get down to the Bollinger Band here. In this case, back in mid to late February, right? So right now, right here, kind of what I'm expecting, and we didn't even get close to it. This is what formed this uptrending line of support. We didn't even really get close to it back here in March 5th. We had quite a bit of daylight in between that wick and the actual Bollinger Band there, which is the 200-day moving average, by the way, the orange line. So what is my base case here? I think what's going to happen, given how bullish folks are, and given one of the headlines that I'm about to get into, I think we just do a little bounce here off that Bollinger Band, get back up above. We go backwards in time. Sorry, my computer's a little laggy here. Just bounce, get back above that line of support, confirm it, and then we go higher. Goodness gracious, if that's not the most beautiful line you've ever seen drawn, then I don't know what is. So that's my base case, right? My base case is pretty bullish. We've seen again and again lots of arguments on the charts, lots of indicators saying this thing needs to come back and test at least the golden pocket, right? It needs to come back and it needs to test. And, Bitcoin has had 30, 20, 40% pullbacks. Where are they? The reality is that we keep making those arguments, and I think, and they're still sound arguments, but the reality is that the ETFs are really just making the cycle a little bit more bullish than it has been before. This phase of the cycle, I should say. So there's a good chance that we bounce off that Bollinger Band, which again, I'll go back to it. Really wouldn't put us much lower than 65,000, right? And then we make a move higher from there. That's my base case. That really is. Just because that's what we keep seeing, right? We keep seeing this voracious buying, especially in this newer phase of just absolute launch, face melting, careening towards higher prices, towards eminently, I guess, 140,000, right? We have spent time below the Bollinger Bands back here in January, right? As the market was kind of getting its footing post ETF approval, right? A lot of the big money was like hanging out on the sidelines, like, I don't know. This money manager, I've trusted him for a long time. Now he's saying Bitcoin. I don't know, man. Bitcoin, what's the intrinsic value of Bitcoin? I don't know. And then it starts to pump up. And those money managers are like, look, a lot of my clients are getting into Bitcoin ETFs, and you're not. You're too slow. You're going to get left behind. They pull the trigger, and now we don't see another candle close below the midline of the Bollinger Band. So that's the story. That's the story that it looks like that the markets are telling me today. The conclusion is definitely don't sell Bitcoin, right? If you have leverage positions long, you might consider looking into those, spending a little time kind of triple checking what your liquidation prices are and things like that. But ultimately, I'm not really looking to sell any spot Bitcoin for sure. All right, so let's get into a couple of the stories here that are giving me a little bit of direction of why we could be seeing what we're seeing here. We're seeing 2.4 billion Bitcoin options expiries. I believe that's going to be today. So around 360,000 Bitcoin options contracts will expire March 15 today with notional value of around 2.45 billion. Okay. So what does this mean? It means the options contracts that people are trading, right, on top of the spot market through CME, through Deribit, right? Those are all expiring, not all of them, but a lot of them, a big chunk of them are expiring today. Okay. And we're also seeing liquidations, not even close to a 2024 high that was put in back here on March 4th. Goodness gracious. So not even close to that, but it is elevated compared to the average here. Let me zoom out. So the average, I'd say, put it right around in here. It's elevated. It's above that average. Okay. So neither one of these are really outside of the cycle. Expiries happen in contracts, right? That's how option contract markets work. There's always going to be a expiry date, right? On that date, yeah, things can get a little haywire because a new contract is about to start. So, but to me, it's like that's not really that bearish. This is all very technical, very things that aren't necessarily making the people who are buying Bitcoin very voraciously right now, family offices, big hedge funds that haven't allocated to Bitcoin yet, those guys are not going to be shaken by a contract expiry or, elevated liquidations. That's just not, in my opinion, that's just not what they're about. Bitnado said, "Hey, Tyler," I like that. That's not how you spell my name, but here we go. "Hey, Tyler, Market Cipher is printing a green dot on the hourly and 2 hourly time frames. Money flow is going up back again." So, yeah, I mean, that sounds bullish. We're a Lux Algo channel. We love Lux Algo. It's the very best trading indicator that money can buy, and you can actually get it through the link in our description. That's Lux Algo. Go check it out down below in the links. Weekend Pump says Kea reacts. Weekend Pump, and we will get another dump next week. Very possible. Fino says, "Is BOEM the next Solana meme coin to blow up?" It might be. It might be. This is not the day to be talking about meme coins. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is because, hey, they're down. They're down today. What do? You buy low, you sell high. But in my opinion, a wise investor, a wise trader is not thinking about meme coins today. You need to really do some defensive thinking, right? We've just broken some support here. This isn't a day to go throw a party, right? This is a day to be thinking defensively. Now, that doesn't mean selling. That doesn't mean selling and going into T-bills. It's not that defensive, right? But you're starting to think, okay, maybe I should take some profits on my meme coins, which, by the way, is what the market's doing. Ding, 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 ding. People are taking profits on their risk assets, higher risk assets, and they're rotating into cash, it looks like. Rotating into USD and Fed.ai, I guess. Just because, this is a little worrying. It's a little worrying. And that's why, I'm asking the question today on the stream, is there going to be more pain ahead today? So far, my answer would be yes. I do think we have price discovery lower, at least coming back down to this wick at 65, right? And then probably a little lower. I think that there's a decent amount of support here at 64.8. I showed you where this correlates with the monthly levels. Back here, I'll show you again for folks that are just tuning in. This here at the 64.8 level correlates with this wick back here in April 1st of 2021, right? Is that the strongest reason? Is that the strongest support in the world? No, but it's a level of support that we can kind of identify. Also showed you this Fibonacci here that Piper helped me draw out. Now this is pretty good. And right now we're testing the 786, right, of this Fibonacci drawing. So, I think that we'll probably go ahead and get a couple candlesticks printing below this. But again, my base case is that we really, over here on the daily chart, that's not the daily chart, over here on the daily chart, we come in and it's really the Bollinger Bands game. Just because I think people are really trying to keep it simple right here. Remember, it's low brain cell trading mode right now, right? What's more simple than the midline of the Bollinger Band? I certainly don't know. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into some other stories here. Eric Bolkanis chiming in on a letter from Congress to the SEC. He said the blockbuster success of Bitcoin ETF is upsetting to high-ranking Democrats, one of the two parties here in the United States. Buyer's remorse, he says. This is part of why we are pessimistic regarding spot Ethereum ETF approval chances. Okay, so let's read this. So this is the success of the BTC spot products clearly ruffling some feathers on the Hill. Senator Jack Reed and Senator Laposa. Let me see what states these people are in. Senator Laposa. Does she not have the state that she's the senator of in her bio? Okay. That is weird. California. California, not a surprise. And Rhode Island. Okay. I was going to say you should write these people, but those are pretty blue states, so they're not going to really be undecided here. They said no further ETPs for other tokens make life difficult for brokers and advisors that recommend Bitcoin ETPs. This is, of course, ETF. ETF is interchangeable with ETPs in this context. Technically, it's not, but this is for language reasons. Just think ETFs here. Don't be getting confused on small details that don't matter. And they wrote this to the Honorable Gary Gensler. All right. So essentially here, just furthering this unfortunate narrative that we were unlikely to see the spot Ethereum ETF passed in late May by the SEC. At this point, I just don't think it's going to happen. And so then the question is going to be, does BlackRock sue the SEC? It's almost a given that Grayscale is going to sue the SEC here, and they're going to win again, right? Just like they did with the Bitcoin ETF, with their GBTC. So we'll see. We'll have to see. I mean, that's kind of a big question. And what about the other issuers? Like ARK Invest, I believe, has also filed. There's some pretty big hitters that are looking to, they're kind of getting with their legal teams right about now. Is like, are we going to sue the SEC for this? And the answer is probably going to be yes, because it's history, and they want to leave a strong legacy. We got some bullish news here. Apparently, JP Morgan has opened their mouth again, and words are coming out. Just in Bitcoin surpasses gold in investor portfolio allocation, JP Morgan says. So that's big. And that's a big headline. Is this an asset that you want to sell? An asset that has just surpassed the gold ETF allocation for JP Morgan clients? I don't think so. And then here you go. Here's the big one. So this is why my base case is that we're only going to test the midline of the Bollinger Band here, right? Given the current climate, given all the news that we know about right now, this could change if more news comes out. But given everything that I'm seeing and hearing, my base case is that we tap the midline of the Bollinger Band, putting it right around 65,000, and then we resume higher. Or hopefully we trade sideways. Trading sideways would be a happy medium, right? I think ultimately, in Tim and I's dream world, we do go ahead and come back down and test probably around 58, right? 58,000, somewhere down here, get into this golden pocket, flip not flip anything, use it as support again, and then that is a much more reliable and balanced price structure to start to build to new highs, right? But this is it. Breaking, Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy just raised more than they were anticipating. $525 million for 7 years with a tiny 0.8% interest rate. $25 million more than initially announced. They will be buying Bitcoin as soon as possible. So that is why my base case is really just the Bollinger Band, other than also traders are just trying to keep it simple, low brain cell trading right now. So there you go. I mean, you're going to have a huge whale come in and literally telling you what the playbook is going to be before it happens. It's not insider trading because it's on Twitter. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Piper Academy is about to start here. Make sure you go check out Piper Academy YouTube channel. They're going to be going much more in depth into the charts, and they probably have, a little bit of a different take. So you want to go see what they're thinking over there on Piper Academy. Bros, make sure that you check out the sponsors in our description. We've got a brand new one, and it's delicious. If you do not have a tax advantage account for your crypto yet, go ahead and check out the link in the description for iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital is an excellent way to save for the long haul crypto that can be tax advantage in a tax advantage account like a Roth IRA or an IRA or something like this. Just go to the first link in our description and check out the iTrust Capital or any of the links here in our description. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Investing Bros in full volume, and we will catch you at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, where we've got magic internet money. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Tim's going to be on the show as well. We're going to be going deep, probably on XRP. So we shall see you there. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividends. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.